Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Justin with Corework Node, and today we're going to be setting up the Ubuntu Server 14.4. We're pretty much going to be going from start to finish. Everything you need to do to get a web server operational with SSH and display a web page, and also FTP. We're going to be using vsftpd, and I'm going to show you all that and explain more once we get going. But let's go ahead and get started. So I'm using VirtualBox mainly so I can record, and obviously it's not a permanent thing. Alright, just real quick to let you know before I go any further, I really didn't go anywhere, I just hit install. I will be excuse me, I will be pausing during times that it requires to run like an install or setup and stuff like that. Just so you know, there's going to be kind of a time lapse, but primarily it's so you don't have to sit here and watch, time go by. So anyway, we're displayed with this. Once we choose the install option, we can go ahead and click enter, unless English is not your preferred language. I'm in the United States, so I'll go ahead and click on that. Detect keyboard layout. You can go ahead and you can click yes or no. I'm going to click no. English US is me, and English US. Just click next. That's pretty much it on that part. It's going to start doing some install and some basic setup right now to get us up and going. And I am going to pause it until we get the next prompt. Okay, so we're at the next prompt. It's asking for a host name for this system. I'm just going to go with server 2. You can do server 1. You can pretty much do any name you want to. Now it's asking for the full name of the user. I'm just going to type my name, Justin. Hit next. Username for your account. If you typed your name, it's automatically going to decapitalize and insert it into here, but you can choose anything like administrator. Just remember it has to be lowercase or you'll get a little prompt. We're going to go ahead and continue with that. The username Justin is fine for this machine. And then we need to do a password. So go ahead and make a new password, and it's going to ask you to retype to verify. This is going to ask to encrypt your home directory. I'm going to click no for right now. I don't need to hassle with this, and I can change this later. Okay, it's asking if this is the correct time zone, American New York. That's right. Also note we're going to use a command later on in this series to go ahead and make it reach out to a public domain and pull the correct time, just in case you're running SSL certificates and stuff like that. Okay, so we're going to do the second option, guided, use entire disk, and set up LVM. You're going to choose the hard drive. I dedicated 6 gigabytes to this. Install, or 5.4 it looks like. And you're going to slide over to yes, write the changes to disk and configure LVM. Amount of the volume group to be used, pretty much your entire disk. Just click continue. And you want to make sure to do yes on this one. It automatically highlights no, but you want to click yes. So go ahead and press enter on that. Alright, I'm going to wait for this to install, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're back here with this prompt, and it's asking if you need to use a HTTP proxy to access the outside world. Enter the proxy information here, otherwise leave this blank. If you don't know what proxy is, leave it blank. If you're behind a proxy, enter the information and just hit continue. Okay, so another prompt that we're giving is the how do you want to manage updates on the system. I go ahead and choose no automatic updates. Use this at your discretion. If I just like to maintain things myself and update things myself, but if you're not using it for production, or even if you are using it for production, I guess you're not worried about things breaking, you can just choose automatic and maybe save yourself some time. But other than that, I'm going to choose no automatic updates. Okay, so this is where a lot of people get confused. This is where I see on the forums a lot of people get frustrated, especially those new coming over from Windows Server that generally has a GUI, and you can kind of just click, left click, right click, choose this option, drop down menu, etc. They highlight which one they want and they just hit enter. Don't do that. If you've done that, I'm sorry, but don't do that. You can always back up if you did accidentally do that, but you actually want to select a few of these to be pre-installed. You can install this after runtime, but really there's no difference. Just let everything get installed with one hit. So we want to choose Open SSH Server. You do this by hitting the spacebar on either Mac or PC. Then we can use our arrow keys. We don't want DNS server. We don't need that for this particular application. LAMP server, which is Linux, Apache2 MySQL PHP server. So we want to hit the spacebar on that and highlight that because that's what this whole thing is about. And you can choose to install a couple more, like the mail server. We're not going to be going into how to set up the mail server in this video, but I will release a video right after this one, how to configure the mail server. So you might want to go ahead and do that. Other than that, do not select DNS if you're watching this video, because then it's going to break some stuff. You're not going to be able to follow along the way that you should. Really, if you want to follow along with this video and not have any major problems, just select the three that I have right there: Open SSH server, LAMP server, and mail server. Again, you do that by hitting the space bar. Then you can tab over to continue. So again, I'm going to let that install. I'm going to pause the video so this video doesn't run crazy long. Watch an install process, and then we'll go from there. Oh, wait a second. We just got a prompt anyways. It's asking for a new password for a MySQL root user. I'm just going to type password. If you're going to use this for production or even mild production, whatever, choose a stronger password than password. But for this video, I'm going to choose password. Okay, and then it's asking general type of mail configuration. Right now we're going to do internet site, and system mail name is going to be, we'll just call this server 2 mail. Actually, I'll just call this mail server 2 dot, and then my domain name. Our domain over at Core Worknode is coreworknode.com. You can go over to the forums and check out this video series and plenty more useful information, hopefully. Had to plug there just for a second. So go ahead and click continue on that. Create a self-signed SSL certificate. And it pretty much says up at the top, SSL certificate is needed in order to use IMAP or POP3 over SSL TLS. No such certificate was found. You can do this later. If you want to go ahead and do it, you can. I'm going to go ahead and click no. If you click yes, it's very simple. You enter in your location, via country, state, and also your company name, and just basic prompts. It's very simple, but I don't need to do this right now. And this time I am going to pause and let this finish installing. Okay, so this should be the final prompt that you get, I think, which is install the grub bootloader to the master boot record. Click yes. Just hit enter, and pretty much let that finish up installing the bootloader, and hopefully we will be presented with our CLI shortly. Actually, I was wrong. There is one more prompt, and it's saying installation is complete. So it's time to boot into your new system. Make sure you're removing the installation media, etc. Go ahead and click continue. Okay, so here we are now finally in the CLI, or otherwise command line interface. If you're not familiar with Linux and you're not familiar with command line, it might look a little bit scary, but it's not. It's actually pretty simple. It's asking for us to log in, so let's go ahead and type our name or our login name. It's asking for our password. Okay, and I'm just going to type clear real quick to get that cleared up, all that pretty much starter text. So we're in our server. Everything's great. The first command that I want to run is if, I think it's config. So if config. And I'm going to look over at eth0, what my IP address is. Okay, so once we run if config, pretty much we're going to get our IP address up there. I'm in a command line interface, so I don't have a mouse pointer, so I can't actually point at something and say, hey, this is up here. But if you look to the top left under eth0 and then look over to the right, second line, our address is as displayed 10.0.2.15. So we're in a virtual machine. That's not the actual IP address, or that's the actual IP address of the virtual machine, but that's not my network. The first thing that we need to do regardless, though, is set up a static IP address. And every server should have one. We're going to be SSHing into this server, so we need a static IP address, because after we set this up, we can unplug the box, we can power it off, we can go put it in the other room, we can go put it out in the garage, whatever, turn it on, and then we can run all our commands from our desktop inside. So what you're going to go ahead and type is vim etc network, and then interfaces. And then you're going to be presented with this. Actually, you know what? I told you wrong. Let me exit Vim. We need to give ourselves some power. So we're going to do sudo su password. Okay, and that's going to give us lead rights. That's going, if you're not familiar with Linux, that's pretty much giving you top authority, like above, administration level above, God mode. And then we're going to type vim etc. Actually, give me 1 second. Let me clear that text so you can see better. We're going to type vim etc. And our directory again is network and interfaces. Okay, so Vim is a text editor that's bundled with your Ubuntu Server 14.4 installation automatically. It is a really powerful text editor, even though it doesn't look like it. Now, I know that we're in a command line interface, so this is going to make things a little bit more difficult if you're not familiar with command line text editors. So you're just going to have to bear with me, and I'm going to pretty much give you the very basics to edit this file. The not so appropriate way to navigate around the text is going to be to use your arrow keys. Mainly it would be JKL, but don't worry about that right now. Just use your arrow keys. Unless you want to learn Vim, then go do that and then come back. Okay, so we're going to go on down to the primary network interface, auto, Ethernet 0, iFace, iNet, DHCP. That's wrong. We need static. We need a static IP. So in order for me to be able to edit this file, all I need to do is click A on the keyboard, or you can press the insert button. As you can see to the bottom left of the text editor, it now says insert. This allows us to edit text. So we're going to go ahead and back this up, change that to static, and then we're going to press enter and make a new line here, and we're going to set our server address. So we're going to type address, and then in this case I'm going to do 192.168.0.251, and then net mask. And if you don't know what this is, net mask is, don't worry about it. I could almost guarantee you it's going to be this default right here. And if you know what it is, then you shouldn't have a problem. But so you're going to set your net mask up, which is usually 255.255.255.0. And now we need to point it to our gateway. The gateway is going to be the address of your router, the essential address. So in my case, it is 192.168.0.1. And then DNS name servers. And this is going to be your outside name servers. If you're using a virtual machine or have another computer on the network, you can do an IP config all if you're in a Windows machine, and get your DNS servers. Or another method that you could use is just do your gateway, because your gateway is going to reach out to the DNS anyways. So we'll do 168. Okay, so that is the bare basic setup to set your static IP. You can do a lot more, especially if you're going to do a DNS server yourself. But that's pretty much it. We need to edit this file. Now we need to save this file, and this is where Vim gets a little complicated for some, because there's not a file menu, edit, whatever, tools. But to the bottom left, you can see that it says insert, as I pointed out earlier. If you hit the escape key once, that's going to go away. And now we can use a Vim command. So we need to save and exit. So we're pretty much just going to do :X and then press enter. As you can see in the bottom left, that's our command, :X. Press enter, and that has saved our file. So I'm going to clear that by typing clear and then pressing enter, and that's set. So if I just look back real quick, Vim etc network interfaces, and open that file, I can see that my settings were changed. If you want to exit without saving or doing anything, you can do :Q exclamation point, and that's just going to leave it alone. So I'm going to type clear again, and now what you want to do is, the best thing to do is, you can refresh your network and stuff like that, and you could break something, so it's better just to go ahead and type reboot. And that's just going to reboot the system. So I'm going to let that restart, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back at the login page, and now I just need to go ahead and log in. And before we do anything, let's go ahead and give ourselves top administrative rights real quick. So sudo su, and now we just type the password. Okay. And that just keeps us from having to type sudo or su every time we want to type a command. It just gets kind of annoying. So if I do ifconfig real quick, I can see now that my IP address and everything has changed. I had to check my facts real quick. I'm actually using a virtual box so I can do a bridge connection, because I did promise SSH and connecting SSH in your server. So if you've already run apt-get install vsftpd, then that's not a problem. Just take a break real quick. I'm going to show you, if I can find my mouse again, if I can show you right here. If you select the virtual machine that you want to change the settings for, and click on the cog up here, or either right click and then select settings and then go to network, you can actually do a bridged adapter, and that will it will make it visible in your network and make your virtual machine work on your network based on the static IP you gave it. I figured I'd throw that out there. If you're using something else like VMware, I think they have bridge, but I haven't used VMware in a long time. Once I figured out that VirtualBox exists and it was free and just a useful tool. So let me minimize this. This is our actual server here. I just throw this box over here, and you can stay in the virtual server if you want to. If you didn't do a bridge connection or whatever, it's fine. But I'm in Windows right now, and I'm actually going to use PuTTY to SSH into my server. When you first launch PuTTY, this is exactly what it looks like. I will close it and launch it. It looks just like that. All you gotta do is type in your address right there. You're going to be presented with this prompt. Just go ahead and click yes. It's talking about certificates and host and trust this person, know who you're connecting to, etc. And then we can go ahead and type our username and then our password, and it will log us in via SSH. And what I'm going to do is right here, give me 1 second. I'm just going to change the comment color blue because it's going to be very hard for you to see. So give me just a second. I'm sorry. Just bear with me here. And I'm going to change the font size so you can see a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So I'm now SSH'd into the server. Here's my server over here running the virtual machine, but now I can do everything SSH. So if you could imagine, your server can be anywhere at this point within your network, unless you open up the ports for SSH and everything else. So we did in our last, before I paused and gave that whole spiel about SSH and VirtualBox, if you did apt-get install and then vsftpd and then press enter, excuse me, I need to give myself some rights. So sudo su password, and let me turn my machine down real quick because that's going to get annoying real quick. All right, and now if I do apt-get install vsftpd, and obviously it's not going to install anything because it's already installed. So what we want to do right now is configure our VSFTP to, hey, let us in, we need to change some files, we need to do some stuff. As of right now, if I open up FileZilla, wherever it may be, I'll install the new version later, and type in my server address, and then type in my regular user account for the machine. So remember, that was Justin in my case. That can be whatever in your case. And here I am. I'm in. That's great. Better yet, to give even better example, if I type in my server, we can see that Apache2 and Ubuntu was nice enough to welcome us with a page here that says, hey, welcome, it works, your server's working. So we have internet, we have FTP, that's great. Here's the thing, this file system right here for our server is pointed in a completely different directory than what we're in right now via FTP or VSFTP. That's because VSFTPD, I'm just going to say FTP server, automatically sticks us in the home directory of that user. Right now, if I go create directory, I'm going to get permissions denied and all this other junk, and it gets real frustrated. I know the pain of this, but I never fear, I can help you out here. So what you want to do is you want to type vim. Make sure you have the sudo rights as well. Vim etc, and then what I'll do is we need to open up the configuration file in vim. So we'll do vsftpd.conf conf and press enter. And here's our configuration file. So this is very simple stuff. All you gotta do is read. And that, again, that's why I changed the text color a minute ago. You wouldn't even been able to see that. It's horrible. I don't know why PuTTY default blues to that comment color or whatever, but anyways, I made it lighter. You can see it. So remember what I said earlier, you're going to press A or the insert button, look to your bottom left, and now you can see my cursor because I'm in PuTTY, and it says insert right here to the bottom left. What we want to go ahead and do is where it says uncomment this to enable any form of FTP write command, we want to just press delete on that pound symbol comments, and that's all we had to do. So now we can press escape one time and then do :X and then let me do a service restart, or excuse me, service vsftpd restart that. Let me go back over to FileZilla, reconnect, create directory, and now I can create a directory, thank God. And I have a feeling it's just because I didn't disconnect FileZilla in the first place and it was using old credentials. But that's not a problem. Now I can create a directory. So I go in here and create the directory www, and that's all great. And now I can, let's say I want to do a, what do I have on my system? I don't think I have a PHP file or a HTML file on my system. Actually, you know what? I can go up to, I'm just grabbing a file real quick. So okay, so I grabbed that file. All right, so that's all fine. We've got FTP set up. I know that was kind of like who what there for a second, but if I refresh, I'm still not in that directory. I'm over here in freaking var ww land, for God's sakes. You know, I need to open up the directory, or I need to change the directory. I want the directory to be where my FTP default is. That keeps me a system administrator that's doing a personal server. You know, that keeps me from having to mess around with any more configuration files for VSFTP. It's working. I'm logged in. It's kind of secure, about as secure as FTP is going to get. And you know, I'm good to go. I've got a www folder, but you know, at this point I should be getting a blank page, you know, where that www folder is. That's not the case. We need to configure a couple more things, and don't fear, it's pretty simple. I'll try to explain it best as I can. It seems that I've just gone brain dead today, and I'm really sorry about that. So let's do cd. We'll change over to etc directory, and then we'll type ls. We'll list out the directories, and Apache2 is one of them. So we'll do cd. Let me show you another great thing about PuTTY and doing SSH. I can just highlight this directory right here, and I can right click it, and boom, it puts it right there. I can press enter, and that's going to put me in that directory. So now I can do like ls in that directory. So I'm in the Apache2 directory, which is, in my case, would be cd etc Apache2. And I need to configure two files. The first file, and I'm going to do this on purpose. I'm going to purposely make a mistake that everybody seems, or a lot of people seems to make, is I'm going to go ahead and first dive into cd sites enabled, or excuse me, sites available. And I'm going to do a list there. And now I can see that there is a default configuration file in there. So if I just do vim and open up that default configuration file, I can see now that the document root is var www html. Well, that, you know, what is that? That's not what I want. I want it to go to my directory that I have set up for vsftp. You know, that's pretty much that simple. But it's not. So I need to change that directory to home justin www. And I don't recommend, actually, well, I'll make it a little bit more practical. I'll do www, create directory, and I'll call this site1. Okay. I'll just call it website. You name it whatever you want your website name to be, or just stick with the website. All right. So refresh. All right. So now I want this directory to be home justin www website. Okay, so I need to change this. So I'm going to go ahead and press A on my keyboard. That's going to push me into insert mode. Alternatively, you can press insert. A's closer. And back this up, and I'm just going to do home justin www, and then let's do, what was it? I already forgot. Website. That's right. All right. So that's what I want it to be. I press escape just once, and that put me back in command mode for Vim. And now I do :X. That's going to save and exit. I can do clear, and now I can restart Apache or Apache. I restart Apache server. So I'm going to do service restart the website. All right, so we got a little message because we're on a virtual machine, but not a big deal. I restarted the web server. Now I'm ready to get to my index, as we all know and love about Apache, and start seeing my files in here. What I do is I go ahead and create a new file. Just name it name. And I can refresh. And now I'm getting this damn forbidden error. And I see this on the forums so much. This is not annoying for people to ask. This is another step that you're having to take. Remember, Linux server is great, and they're fast, and they work wonderfully. And if you're a new user, this can scare you off. And if you're kind of techie and played around with Linux GUI, this can piss you off. But this is a very, very easy fix. I cannot express how easy this is, and I'm going to show you how to fix this. You're getting forbidden because the Apache server is not allowing you to look, or look in that file directory. So we don't have access to access it from the web right now. We can't look at it. Not a problem. We can fix this. Don't worry. So we need to back out of this sites available ordeal, and then we'll just do cd ... That'll back us out. I'll do ls to list real quick. And what we need to pull up back in Vim is we need to pull up Apache2. So we'll do Vim Apache2.conf. We'll pull that up, and we'll keep on scrolling down until we get over here. Okay, so we can see that the directory user share is, all granted or whatever, and the directory www is allowing indexes and all this other good stuff. I'm not going to explain the Apache configuration file to you, but you can see that it's doing some stuff with that directory that we just changed. So you could delete some of this stuff, or you could change it, or you could just leave it there as a nice reminder. I say leave it. Let's press A space and start a new line over here, and then we're just going to do directory. Oh, excuse me. Is going to be, remember, home Justin, or whatever your username is, and then www./website. Okay. All right, so now that opens up. I almost think, I think you can just do it straight up to the www, because we're going to have more websites in there. There's no need to start getting crazy with it. And we can copy this stuff that's right here and put it right there. There's no need to type all that out when we're using PuTTY. We can make it look neat if we want to. Being a coder, I love stuff to look a little bit neat, but I don't like to type if it's not necessary. I type enough. So we'll close that out, and I'll let you look over that for a second. We opened the Apache2 configuration file. We added a new directory. You could change this up here. Don't get me wrong. It's not necessary to create a whole new thing, but you need to feel comfortable with editing this file, because you're going to have to edit this file eventually. You're going to have to dig in this file, and it's not rocket science. It's not difficult as some people make it seem, and it's harmless. So we're going to hit escape one time, :X, press enter. Remember, we need to go ahead and restart our service. So service Apache2 restart. We're okay, we're good to go. This is just a stupid message about a localhost thing due to VirtualBox, but it's not a big deal. So now if I bring this back over where we were forbidden and refresh, you can now see that we have that beautiful Apache index of ready to go. Our web server is working. We can install WordPress, PHP now. That's all good. But now we run into the problem that we need to set up MySQL. And that can get a little complicated. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to cram everything into this tutorial. You can install PHP admin, which I think is great. I don't really recommend it. You can do everything in command prompt, and you can do everything in the command line interface and just go from there. But I will show you PHP admin, myadmin, and I'll probably show you using stuff like MySQL Workbench or whatever and create a new user. But this video has toggled out at 45 minutes. Always remember, you can head over to coreworknode.com, which is just forums. We share open source projects, code, and information for everybody. Here's a little snippet that I created earlier today. about the Ubuntu server, set the static IP. This was one of the most asked about things on multiple other forum platforms, and I figured I would go ahead and add it to mine. So, and add an answer to it. So anyways, with that being said, I'm Justin with Core Work Node. I'm sorry that this pushed out 45 minutes, and I'm sorry that my brain seemed to decide to melt while I was trying to explain all this. But I hope that you enjoyed the video, and be looking out for the MySQL video and the mail server video. And let me see if there's anything else I forgot. PHP is already set up and running because we installed LAMP, and MySQL is too. We just need to configure some of that stuff, and that's what we'll cover. I'll do a MySQL/PHP video, and I will do a mail server video separate. All right, guys. Again, thank you. Justin with Core Work Node, out.